Hey guys, day 5 here of the 7-day challenge of sharing our testimonies and reasons we believe. Today I'm going to talk about some experiences that I've had. So the previous one I've talked about experiences with the evil side of things, with demonic activity. This time I'm going to share a couple of experiences and testimonies of angelic encounters. So the first one I can recall is I was driving home from work. One day after work, I was going down 41, and there's a gas station at the corner of 41 and Lynch. And I think I was just kind of on autopilot, driving home from work. And for some reason, I was in a particularly prayerful mood, and I was just praying to God. And I stopped at the stoplight, and I'm trying to think. It was a red light, and I got there right when it turned red. So I was sitting there, and there was a man on the corner, kind of like near the edge of 41 and on the edge of the parking lot of the gas station. Can't remember which gas station that is, but he was standing there, and he was kind of an older man, kind of skinnier and really not dressed well. Looked kind of like maybe he was homeless, and he had a dog with him. And I was just I was praying to the Lord and just asking him, like, use me, like, show yourself to me, reveal yourself to me. Nothing really in particular, just general prayers to God on the way home. And I looked up and I noticed this man, and for some reason he just kind of caught my attention. He was, like I said, he looked homeless. He looked like he had a rough time in life. And he had this poor dog with him, and he was standing on the corner. He may have had a bag of clothes with him. I can't remember. It's been a while. But I kind of had an eye on him. And as I was sitting there at the light, I was praying, and I looked up, and the next thing I know, he was completely gone. But before he disappeared, the time before that I looked up, I was praying, and I was asking God, like, can you just reveal yourself to me, or can you give me a sign of your presence? And the second to last time I looked up, the guy just kind of smiled at me and pointed his finger up to the sky as if to God. And then I looked down briefly when I was praying and looked back up, and he was completely gone. He did not have the time to walk across the road to go back into the gas station. It was a split second. I looked down and back up, and he was gone. But after he pointed up in the sky and smiled at me, as if he knew that I was talking to God. I know that sounds kind of strange, but it's true. He was there 1 minute. I kind of couldn't stop looking at him for some reason. I was just kind of attracted to watching him with his dog and seeing what he was about. Because to be honest, I thought he was a panhandler. I thought he was asking for handouts and stuff on the corner of the gas station. Looked like he had a rough time. But I really think, in Hebrews it talks about be not forgetful to entertain strangers, because thereby some have entertained angels unaware. And I really think that he was an angel, maybe sent there to give me a sign that, God is there, God is with me, God is listening. Or, maybe it was just the Lord trying to show me, that scripture is in truth. It really happens. And the funny part is, like I said, it was a split second. He had nowhere to go. He could have ran across 41, and it was so quick that I would have seen him. So him and his dog disappeared. So unexplainable experience. But after that, I was actually talking to a group of believers, good country folk in Mount Vernon, and people were sharing a story where they were kind of out driving, and there was a guy standing on the edge of the road and kind of hitchhiking, and they were asking each other, "You think we shouldn't stop?" Because you don't nowadays you don't pick up strangers and take them places. That can be very dangerous nowadays. Back in the day, people did that a little bit more, but they both were filled with the Spirit, and they felt like, no, the Spirit's kind of leading us to like stop and pick this guy up. And so, against their better judgment and trying to listen to the Spirit, they stopped and picked up this hitchhiker guy, and he's a little rough looking, but he got in the back of their car, and they were asking him where he needs to go, and I think he said something like, just up the road a little bit, something, the hitchhikers would say. He was trying to get someplace, and so they started talking, and having some conversation, just small talk or whatever, and they're going down the highway, and they start kind of getting on the concept of the Lord and talking about the Bible and specifically angels, and they're talking, they're having a good time. He's chatting in the back. And then he says something about you never know who you're entertaining, or you never know if you're in the presence of an angel secretly or unaware. And they turned around to say, yeah, you're right. And when they turned around, the guy was gone completely. He was not in the car, and they were going down the highway. And he had just mentioned secret angels, or angels unaware, as King James says. So that's yet another experience, just like mine, even more amazing. And so that kind of leads me to, and to believe in this angelic encounter. And there's lots of stories from Christians around the world that have had people who appeared to be normal people, slightly odd, but they come into their lives and then they just disappear. And there's always references to angels or encounters. So I tend to believe that because it's happened to me. The other one is even more incredible. So this is the only, I guess, physical or visual that I've ever seen of angelic beings. And the Bible talks about that. There are angelic beings, just like there are demonic beings. They are real. They're a separate creation from us, but they serve God and they do His will according to the Bible. They're messengers. That's what the Hebrew malach means, is messenger. And so I was shortly saved. I mean, it was shortly after I was saved, I think. I can't remember how long, but I was a new Christian. Basically, I didn't know much about the Bible or spiritual things for sure. And I was laying in bed one night, and again, I think I was praying right before I slept. And it was real dark in my room. I remember that. I guess I had the curtains closed and the lights off and the door closed. Everything was pretty much pitch black. But I was just laying there praying, and I was starting to lay my head down on the pillow and go to sleep, and just about to close my eyes, but I hadn't yet. So I was not asleep, and I didn't have my eyes closed. And all of a sudden, at the edge of my bed, at the foot of my bed, I noticed that there was just a slight difference in the light, in the amount of light at the foot of my bed. And I was intrigued, but I wasn't thinking anything of it at the time. And then as it slowly just got brighter and brighter until it was an outline. And I saw this faint outline of it looked like shimmering gold almost. And it started to form just shape-wise, right? Of like a human or a body. And as this outline of like glittery golden light started to form, I got super freaked out because I had never experienced anything like that. And so I literally got super